Now, Iranian President Masoud Pezeshkian has responded to this, rejecting negotiations, telling President Trump to, quote, do whatever the hell you want. And the commander of the Iranian Navy, which is currently conducting drills with China and Russia, said this.
What the hostile U.S. government said is nothing new to us. We have learned from past experiences. Iran has not been isolated, nor will we yield to sanctions. If they want to minimize Iran's oil exports, they can try. For over 40 years, they have failed to do that. They are not going to succeed now either.
Now, these remarks come just days after Supreme Leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, who has the final say on all state matters, by the way, said that Tehran will not be bullied into any negotiations. Now, I reached out to the Iranian embassy for comment here in New York and the UN delegation here in New York as well, and neither of them have responded to me. Sean, Emma.
All right. That's Sarah Williamson, live just outside the UN. Sarah, thank you. For a reaction to the story, let's welcome in now Gabriel Noronha, former State Department Special Advisor on Iran. Also, Victoria Coates joins the mix, a former Deputy National Security Advisor. So welcome to you both, and thanks for coming on. Gabriel, we'll start with your initial reaction. If you could just comment on what's going on behind closed doors at the UN today.
Well, the UN is very concerned, certainly the Western members are concerned, that Iran has now tripled its production of 60% highly enriched uranium. This is, again, the antecedent to going to that full step of getting a nuclear weapon. And what I'm concerned about, and the member states are concerned, is that the IAEA has no visibility into this, and they don't know whether this material is being dispersed around the country in illicit sites. One of the good things, 4 years ago, President Biden was lifting UN sanctions and giving Iran all sorts of sanctions relief. Today, the United States, with our friends, is putting pressure back on the Security Council on Iran where it belongs.
Yeah, and Victoria, Iran obviously denies this, but why would you need to enrich uranium to such a high level if you're not trying to build a weapon?
No, Sean, there's only one reason, and that is to build a weapon. It's like their missile program. There's no reason to do the kinds of tests they do unless you're trying to create an intercontinental ballistic missile. And then you have your delivery vehicle for a nuclear weapon. I think the new administration is rightly deeply concerned about this. It is very important to point out that this progress took place during the Biden administration. When we left office in January of 2021, Iran had about 500 centrifuges and were enriching below 10%. This now massive expansion of their nuclear program took place during the extremely permissive atmosphere under President Biden. And, you know, as the president said last Thursday, we're down to final hours here. And, you know, he has written to the Supreme Leader. He wants to negotiate, but he's also put every option on the table.
Yeah. And as we know, Iran, an adversary to the United States, and yet President Trump is willing to have conversations with these world leaders here. We've seen that in action more recently with our allies. Here's what he had to say about what he would like to see happen with Iran.
We're down to final strokes with Iran. We're down to the final moments. We're at final moments. You can't let them have a nuclear weapon. We have a situation with Iran that something's going to happen very soon. Hopefully we can have a peace deal.
So, Gabriel, light on details, obviously, and perhaps for national security concerns, but also just the fact that President Trump is entertaining that idea. What does that tell you?
Look, what he's really saying is there's the easy way and the hard way out of this. Iran can choose the easy way of diplomacy. President Trump has offered this dozens of times over his first and now the second term, and Iran's rejected it at each of these occasions. But this year, there are major diplomatic timelines that force this issue to a final resolution before October 18th, which is when this deal and the UN sanctions on Iran expire. So that is when he's talking about this limited time to resolve this. As Victoria said, Iran is on the finish line of a nuclear weapon. President Trump is determined that that won't happen. And again, it's up to Iran, the easy way or the hard way. I think we all know what the hard way looks like.
Yeah, and we'll see if there is a deal, if the two speak in some form or correspond, but also watching for what's happening there down at the UN. Gabriel Noronha, Victoria Coates, thank you both.
Thank you.
Got it.